My name is Dulce Valencia, and welcome to Telenovelascondulce, a podcast where every week I invite special guests to break down the telenovelas we love, from the music to the cast to the unforgettable plot twist.
Every slap, every imbecile, every secret twin.
I have got you covered. Bienvenidos and welcome to another episode of Telenovelas con Dulce. My name is Dulce Valencia. I am your host, and joining me again for her sixth time is my dear friend, Aranza Alexandra Marmolejo Ramirez. Aranza, thank you.
Hi guys, it's me. Yeah, we've been watching the telenovelas on the playback speed on YouTube. Like, you can change it to make it go extra fast because we've been having to watch them on that mode. And now I feel like my brain is operating that way. So I feel like I'm not talking as fast right now, but in my head I am. I'm trying to like pace myself. So yeah, like right now my brain is going still at 2x speed.
Yeah, like I got to the point where we couldn't tell.
I thought I had turned off that little mode, but no.
I had to recheck.
Yeah.
Shout out to the actors though, because that just shows how clear they are in their voice and their pronunciation and enunciation, because at 2x speed, I could still understand very clearly what they were saying.
And the second said, no soy nada.
Well, this is actually our take 2, because as y'all know, so we mentioned in last week's episode how it's chaos when it's the three of us, Aranza, Kim, and myself. But I guess it's chaos regardless.
Yeah. But I mean, it could have been worse.
Oh, no, it wasn't bad at all. This is nothing. Like, I wouldn't even journal about this.
That's right. I would write that down, because Dulce keeps little notes on little sayings that Kim, Kevin, and I say, and I would write that down, because I would agree. If you didn't write it down on your journal, then it didn't really matter.
Exactly. I'm a writer, and one day I will sell a TV sitcom based on the chaosness of Kim, Aranza, Kevin, and I. And so I keep little notes anytime, especially because I don't drink, so I'm always the sober one in any given situation. So I remember every little thing they do. Yeah, and Kim, if you're listening, this is a call out to Kim, who always tries to fight me on what she is like when she's drunk and is always like, no. But Kim, I know.
She's the leader of our hot girl summer.
Kim is hot girl to like do a little sideline storyline. We know that Teresa is hot girl.
Oh yeah.
But Kim, our friend Kim, y'all met her, the stallion, she's hot girl summer.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Kim. We love you. Shout out to my friends, Aranza and Kim, because I literally would not be able to do this podcast without them. They do this
Wait, I'm getting really emotional because I'm almost going to get my period.
Oh no.
And I'm crying now.
Okay, well, I'm on a roll now, so you're going to have to power through this. Shout out to them, because I constantly feel insecure that I ask my friends a lot, because I always have some creative endeavor, something that I'm trying to do, because that's like the mindset of every creative person. And a lot of times creative people don't have a strong network of people that will support them unconditionally. But that's not me, because I have Aranza and Kim and Kevin, who will always support me and will always subscribe to anything I'm doing, who will give up their free time to talk about telenovelas with me. And I just love you all so much, and I appreciate you all so much.
Aw, I hate that you feel that way. I'm like, if anything, you give me something to do.
And I appreciate that. But I also know that you're going to be a really, really successful and busy nurse, and that I'm not going to have this forever.
Well, I mean, same to you. We always say that Dulce is our plan B. Like, if we don't make it in our careers, we hope that Dulce becomes rich and famous, and that she hires us as like assistants, plural.
Oh, why are we getting emotional? This was not the move we were doing. All right, so before we get started, we are going to be breaking down the plot of episodes 102 to 116 of Teresa. And before we get started, I'm going to do my little TikTok shout out. So I procrastinated last week and I never did a post promoting the podcast because I'm horrible. Instead, I did a mini live. So I'm going to be doing a shout out to the people who joined. So shout out to Michelle for joining the live. Shout out to you. You're super awesome. And I know you're super supportive. And yeah, just shout out to you. Shout out to Omar Vargas for listening in and tuning in and you're always complimenting my voice, and I love you, and you're awesome. And shout out to Jesus Gonzalez too for joining the live. And Jesus Gonzalez wanted me to let you all know that if you want to watch telenovelas, there's this website called OK.ru, RU. It's a Russian website that Latinos apparently use to stream telenovelas. So if you're looking for a place to watch telenovelas and Prende TV or Univision Now or YouTube isn't working for you, check out that website at your own risk. I've never used it.
Gives them a virus.
Yeah, no, he said that it was safe to use because I did ask. I was like, is this gonna give my computer a virus? And he was like, no, it's gonna work. So Jesus Gonzalez, if it doesn't work, I'm coming for you. Just kidding. Thank you so much for suggesting it, and thank you all so much for joining the live. Y'all are amazing, and I appreciate you all so much. So now let's get started talking about the plot.
Last we left off,
Arturo and Teresa had come back from Europe and they were stronger than ever. They were determined to make their relationship work. Luisa has gotten engaged to be married to a certain Fernando, who has a thing for Teresa. Him and Teresa have a connection or whatever. And it's super shady. And let's just talk about Luisa's proposal for a second, because it was just not what our girl Luisa deserved. They're literally sitting on the couch, minding their own business, talking about life, and Oriana asks them if they have plans of getting married. And y'all know Fernando is a playboy, and before Luisa, he was like, I'm never getting married. But then he tells his mom, no, like, I think Luisa and I have talked about marriage, and we will get married. And Oriana's like, pues ni se diga. So she gets up, takes the ring from her hand, hands it to Luisa, and is like, you're engaged. Where's the magic?
Yeah, and that isn't the only engagement that was very subpar, because Aurora also got proposed to, and it was very not, like, I talk about how I want to be proposed, and I want to be above the clouds, and like I will expect literally, like, it cannot be subpar below the clouds, because I will not accept it. But yeah, Oriana is just a devil. She is so rude, and pin this because I want to talk about how she doesn't seem to mind Luisa when she loses money, because Arturo had always tried to convince them to do the, what is it that rich people get when they get married? Prenup. You know, Arturo was like, no, like, this is what we usually do. And Oriana was like, oh, no, like, it's okay. So it's like she loves Luisa so much that she's like, she can have my fortune, you know, because they're really rich. Even after everything, she's still like, no, it's okay.
But I also think because Luisa comes from a good family, because that's something Teresa lacks. And Oriana is very much of the olden days where as long as you had the family name, you were good. You could lose all your money, but you were in with society. So I feel like Luisa has that going for her.
I also want to bring up that I think Oriana did that because she was feeling a little threatened by Teresa, because she knows that Teresa is capable of anything and that she might even come after Fernando. So I feel like that's also why she's rushing them, because she wants them to be married. So I feel like it secures something. Because yeah, right away Oriana like sniffed Teresa for who she is. But even throughout these episodes, she keeps saying like, oh, she's smarter than I thought. Because yeah, Teresa plays her cards right. And Oriana is trying to discover her, and she is. But yeah, throughout these episodes, we just see them bickering back and forth, and like they cannot be in the same room together without Oriana disrespecting Teresa. And Arturo always gives her her place, and finally they have enough of it, and everyone's on board with it. Arturo, Luisa, and Fernando are telling Oriana like, hey, you need to like lighten up, you know, be more nice. And Arturo goes as far as banning her from coming to his house until she apologizes to Teresa, rightfully so.
Yes, so shout out to Arturo. And I want to bring up something, because we got into the conversation when we first tried to record the episode about cheating. Because you kept defending or like...
No. I think we're in love with Sebastian Rulli. And they're an actual thing. And then she showed me a video of them shooting for their new telenovela, Mauro
y Renata.
And they were kissing, and like
We got uncomfortable.
It made us uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's like, wow, you can't deny their connection.
No.
And then we got to talking about how, like, uncomfortable it was, especially as kids, not even just in telenovelas, but, like, in any movie when there was, like, the slightest of, like, intimacy or, like, even a sex scene, like, I would walk away. I'd be like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And even now, I'm just like, I can't even imagine what it's like to have to kiss in front of my family in a wedding.
But yeah, no, but telenovelas are known for their kiss and their public displays of affection. And okay, so real fast though, one of my favorite things that telenovelas do is at the wedding, you know, the main couple is getting married after everything. And oftentimes what telenovelas will do is they'll pan out to all the supporting characters and they'll all be looking lovingly at the couple and in their head being like, ay, lucharon tanto por su amor. I'm so happy for them. They finally get what they deserve. No one's gonna come between their love anymore. And it's like, is that real? Because I'm being a cynic right now. When I've been to weddings, I've never thought that. Well, I've only been to like my cousin's weddings and stuff in Mexico. But it's always been just like, oh, great dress.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think maybe that's because I've never known the couple.
Mm-hmm.
But also, isn't it a little weird how invested they are in... Well, I don't know. Maybe if you and Kevin got married, I would be like... No, actually, yeah. I'll retract my statement. Because I think it was just I didn't know them. Aww. But like if you and Kevin got married, I would be because Kim and I, when y'all aren't around, half of the time we're talking about your marriage.
I'm so emotional. I'm good. I'll cry about anything right now.
Oh my god.
That's how I am when like I'm about to get my period.
Oh, that's why you were crying
the whole freaking 109, episode 109 got me.
I will be posting it in the stories. Aranza's text to me where you can see her crying from episode 109. All right, so let's get back to the plot. So Luisa is engaged, Oriana is the worst. And if you recall last week's episode, we talked about when they came back, when Arturo and Teresa came back from their honeymoon, they started working because Arturo has a very important case where if he loses, he will very likely lose all of his money.
Yeah, and Teresa, you know how she does her little thing where when she's by herself, she talks to herself, and that's when she's like the most honest, of course, and that's when she's like talking out loud to herself about if Arturo loses it all, then she has to have options and she's willing to sacrifice anyone and anything to make sure that she covers her bases and have plan B and C ready to go. So she's arming those forces.
When she does her little monologue being like, I'm gonna look at all my options and I'm gonna align everything, the first thing she does is she puts Ruben in jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that's like the very next scene or something like that. And I think she's just setting up because we all know Teresa. She wants money, but she also wants vengeance.
Oh yeah, she's getting her revenge on everyone.
And very early on in the telenovela, when Aida was at the height of bullying her, she made a promise that she was going to regret everything. And Teresa's vengeance did not end by killing Paulo.
Can we get into who do you think is worse, Aida or Teresa?
Oh my god.
Because look, Aida wished death on Esperanza's baby. And she's done so many other things to Teresa. And it's still like every time she does something to Teresa, it's also like worse and worse. And it's like at least Teresa's like moves are intentional and like she doesn't really have to do much. Except for the Paulo thing. Because the whole dad thing, it's like that's Ruben on his own, you know?
To answer your question, I do think Aida is the worst. Because, I mean, we didn't see how the relationship started, but right from the beginning, Aida hated Teresa for the sole reason that Teresa was smart and she had Paulo. Mm-hmm. And even once Aida had Paulo, she didn't stop.
She got Mariano.
She has humiliated Teresa over and over again. And I feel like Teresa's response to her and all her meanness and cruelty has been justified because they are in retaliation of what Aida has done to her.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'll say Aida.
Thank you.
All right, if you all disagree with this and have different opinions, let us know. So yeah, so Ruben goes to prison and we get Teresa in one of our favorite stages because Teresa is a chismosa and she loves chisme, she loves drama. Anytime she sets up her revenge or sets up something big to happen, like Ruben's arrest, she makes sure that she's there and she plants the seed. And when it happens, all you see is Teresa in the background making the funniest facial expressions.
Yeah, she's just like literally that meme of like the girl smiling behind a fire. That's like in front of a fire. That's literally her, because she's always behind the chaos. She always wants to be there when it goes down. Like even with the whole Esperanza thing, she's always like, "No, go do it now," and like she wants to be there for that. Mm-hmm. And also like every time Teresa gets any little bit of information that she feels can be useful later, I feel like this hoe has like a freaking like Excel sheet with like dates and like, I don't know, like her mind, because she's smart and she uses everything to her advantage.
So Ruben gets arrested, and then Teresa, she realizes how serious everything is with the Sainz case, which, what was the word? You finally wrote it down.
Oh, yes. Arturo was Sainz's aval. So whatever Sainz loses, it automatically falls on Arturo.
To repay those debts.
Mm-hmm. And it's millions.
And so Teresa starts working. And this is a Teresa that I love to see, because she sits her little self down, surrounds herself with the books and the cases, and she goes through everything. And she's like, yes, this is very serious, but also, Arturo, you've been overworking yourself. And if you would have let me help, we could have done this much more easier and much more efficiently. And sure enough, right away, she realizes that there are 9 cases that can be dismissed because of errors. And Arturo is impressed. Mm-hmm. He's like, I've had my entire team of lawyers trying to find errors like this, and you found this by yourself.
I know. I thought it was so cute, because all you see on her desk is like piles and piles of paperwork, and like all we see is like little highlighted highlighted sections, and he's like, you did this for me? And she's like, por supuesto, mi amor, es en mi interés. Who else is gonna like fight this hard for you? Because it's in her best interest, because it's her life also that's on the line.
Yeah, and also, as we know, Teresa at this point loves Arturo. Maybe not to the same intensity as she loves Mariano, but we're gonna see that she loves Arturo way more than she even knows herself.
Yeah.
And so everything's going well. Aranza's crying again.
Yeah, because it's like, again, I hate when I see my favorite main characters starting to have like a good life, and Teresa here, we're starting to see like she's actually, falling in love with Arturo even more deeply. And after seeing all these little cute moments that they have with each other, it's like, this is why last time that I rewatched Teresa, I didn't finish it, because I was like, in my head, I'm just gonna stop here and pretend that they live happily ever after. But no.
Yeah, Teresa's luck starts to run out. And so everything gets set up, but Vito, the drug dealer that Teresa hired to kill Paolo, is gonna come back and haunt Teresa. And he does.
He's literally a freaking like leech, a vampire, like just draining her of anything that he can.
And honestly, Teresa isn't as smart as she should be.
Yeah.
When it comes to this. And I think it's because she really didn't think Paolo was gonna die. That wasn't part of her mastermind. Yeah. And so she wasn't ready to deal with the emotional baggage that came with. So that's why Vito is just draining her out of everything.
But so it's also like the legalities of him going to Genoveva, or just also like if he gets turned into the police, he's going to right away like say, oh, but Teresa gave me, because he kept the whole schedule thing written by her. Mm-hmm. And when I thought about that, I was like, oh, it's funny, because earlier in the telenovela when she was in class, sticking it up to Aida, she kind of was like, and it's in your writing. It's like, it's her writing.
Wow. The connections, the writers. Wow. So then Vito comes back and he's like, you owe me money. But Teresa at this point, she can't give him anything. So Vito's not going to have this. So what happens is Teresa and Arturo prepare this file that's going to win their case. And it's very important because they're under a very tight deadline that file gets delivered. So they send Teresa's father, who has been working for the lawyer's office, and they send him to deliver the file. And when he walks out, Vito assaults him, smacks him in the head, and then steals the file. And that just ruins everything. And so what happens is Arturo loses the case. And so now Teresa's fortune is being compromised. But in a very interesting twist, I would have thought that she would immediately leave him.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that she has stuck around this long. And I think part of that is because she actually really does love him. Mm-hmm. But also it's like, Vito was gonna do that regardless of who was going to come out. Like, he was just waiting for someone to come out.
Right.
Can we talk about how Teresa treats her dad and her mom? Because obviously, like, she's also in a bad place.
It hurts me more when she does it to her dad. Yeah. And maybe it's my daddy issues, but her dad genuinely loves and supports everything she does. I get the antagonism with her mom because they're so different and they have very different ideals. But with her dad, like, it breaks my heart because she blames him. And it's like, it's your fault, when her dad was literally lying on the floor with his head bleeding.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Teresa makes everything worse. She's mean to her dad and her dad.
He feels so guilty throughout the whole time. And I'm like, do you think Teresa deserves what is happening to her because of the whole signs thing and because she killed Paulo? Because it's like a life for, not even a life, it's like a life for your money.
For karma.
She ended up paying for it. She's literally paying.
She starts to pay for it because it's not the end. We're just getting started on Teresa's downfall. But yeah, I don't know. I think yes, she deserves it because she's cruel and she's really mean, and I know you defend her. But Teresa's a really horrible person. And I say this as someone who thinks she has very iconic moments and a lot of stuff that I wish I had, like her confidence, her intelligence, but she's also very horrible. But anyway, they lose the case, but Teresa makes it a point that she's not going to leave Arturo and she's not going to leave her husband. So yeah, so it was very surprising when Teresa decided to stand by him and stay with him, even through his financial troubles, because just a few episodes ago, she was going to leave him. But now she's standing up to her husband. And it gets to the point where there's a day shortly after the verdict and the trial. There's a point where Arturo comes home crying, and I loved Sebastián Rulli's acting in this scene.
I know.
He's so heartbreaking. I believed every single one of those tears, and I wanted to hug him.
I wanted to hug him too.
He was beautiful. What a man. Sebastián Rulli. Wow. And he comes home crying because Sainz committed suicide. And that was Arturo's friend. And so Arturo is very, very heartbroken and sad. And Teresa consoles him, and it's very sweet. They have this really lovely moment. And this is when you're like, oh shit, Teresa loves him. But Teresa doesn't realize it. But the next day, a woman comes to the house. It's Sainz's wife. And she is pissed because she has been left without money, without a husband, and with her kids she has to raise by herself. She is mad at Arturo, and she comes in and she's screaming, she's hysterical, and then she pulls out a gun.
And as soon as she pulls out the gun, that's when Teresa literally puts her body in front, and she's like saying like, no, please, like, you don't understand how hard we fought for this case. And I'm like, this lady is literally crazy, because does she not understand what's going on? Like, Arturo is literally his aval.
There's no hesitation from Teresa's part. She literally gets on her knees and is like, don't hurt my husband. Don't hurt him. But the lady dispara. She shoots the gun, not once, but twice. And Teresa has been shot. She is bleeding out. The woman runs away. Arturo's crying over her body, yelling, get an ambulance, get an ambulance. Teresa's madrina comes and she sees Teresa and she starts getting hysterical. And I found it very funny that they don't call an ambulance, that she calls Mariano first.
I know, and I was like, you're dating
the head surgeon.
The head surgeon of the hospital, but you call Mariano?
For the plot, of course. For the plot, she calls Mariano, who immediately comes, and there's a funny moment where you just hear a car skirt, and all of a sudden Mariano shows up. He sees Teresa bleeding out, saves her life, and she is rushed to the hospital.
You forgot to mention that as she's getting carried away in a gurney, you know, he's like yelling out to the paramedics, like, oh, like, she's allergic to this, and her blood type is AB negative. And I just thought it was really cute that he knew that about her.
So she is rushed to the hospital, and yes, Mariano does a cute thing where he still knows all her allergies and her blood type. Literally the whole world stops, and it was really interesting to see the telenovela function with Teresa just in the hospital for a few episodes, because I'm just used to her energy popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Pero Teresa is between life and death. No one knows if she's going to survive. And then we find out that if she survives, she might become a quadriplegic.
So quad translates to 4, which means all 4 of her limbs would literally like be paralyzed.
Thank you, Nurse Aranza. By the way, y'all, Aranza is going to be a really, really awesome nurse one day. And so, yeah, so Teresa se está debatiendo entre la vida y la muerte. But y'all know, Teresa is strong. She's going to fight this. But the thing is, they need to put her in a surgery. And to put her in surgery...
She has to be stable enough, and she's not because she needs a blood transfusion. Because she was bleeding out because of the gunshot wounds. And, of course, Teresa has AB negative blood type. And I looked it up because in the telenovela, they were like, it's like really hard to come by. And apparently... I should have known this, but it's a refresher. It's only found in less than 1% of the population.
No way.
So that's how rare it is.
No way.
And yeah.
Oh my God. So then, guess who donates the blood though? Fernando, who is more than happy to save Teresa's life. And so he's the only one who has AB negative blood type. And Aranza, is this where you wanted to talk about your...
Oh yeah, when this whole debacle... when this was going on, it reminded me of when I was taking some biology class, taken many, and we were doing a lab in our classroom, and it was like how to get your blood type. And so like we had to like prick our finger, put it on a little like stain sample, and like we were supposed to do it, but I did something wrong. I forgot what it was, but I think like I didn't follow instructions correctly, and I did something oppositely. And I didn't get to know what my blood type was.
So you still don't know?
I still don't know. Even though, yeah, but...
I can't save your life then if you're ever at the hospital, and I can't be the Mariano in this situation.
Oh my God, yeah. I've gotten a blood transfusion too when I asked the nurses, but I forgot.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a B something. I think it's either A, B, A, B.
It's one of the different.
It's either like, yeah. Because then there's like the RH factors, the negative, positive. Because you can, what are you?
So I'm a B positive, and the reason I remember this is because I used to donate blood before my iron levels got really low. And I remember when I was donating, I was like, what's my blood type? And the guy taking my blood was like, oh, you're B positive. Get it? Because you're so positive.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yo.
I was going to say something and then I forgot.
Your RH, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just a nerd fact.
I want to hear your nerd fact.
Okay, so in class I learned, and I don't know why it stuck with me, but some girls have this like RH negative factor where like if your partner is whatever B positive, and you're carrying like this rare RH negative thing, then it clashes. And so when you get pregnant and that child carries the positive one, then your body is trying to destroy the baby because it's not familiar with that kind of RH. So then they have to get like, those are the types of pregnancies that they have to inject. It's like very high risk, and it's like it's more common now to like, it's not as high risk as it used to be, but back then like it was basically like you're not going to be able to carry that pregnancy throughout.
Oh my God, new fear unlocked. Anytime I find out about something new, I'm like, it's gonna happen to me.
I think that's also why I remember it, because I'm like, oh.
Wow, oh my God. Well, nurse facts with Nurse Aranza.
Oh no.
So yeah, so Teresa is put into a medically induced coma so that they can operate on her to remove the bullet that's stuck in her head. The operation is a success. They're able to remove the bullet, but now they still don't know if Teresa's going to be able to walk or move again. So then Teresa's in the hospital, and guess who rose up to do some bullying?
Aida?
Yes, it's Aida. So this is why we started talking about if Aida was like worse than Teresa, and in this moment she's worse than Teresa.
Yeah, because I asked Dulce, do you think that Teresa would have done what Aida did? And what Aida did was literally like, she was holding, I thought that she was gonna do like that classic like pillow over you, like so you won't breathe, but she was like holding the breathing tubes in like a really weird way, like squishing them and like
cutting
telling
the air off.
Yeah, literally telling her like the ugliest things. And then like she finally opens her eyes, and like this is the first time that Teresa is awake in like who knows how long, after like surgeries, and you know, so it's really scary. She doesn't even know where she's at, and she like asks like, where am I? And like Aida's like, oh, you're in the hospital, he, and you're never gonna get out of this bed because you're gonna be quadriplegic, ha ha ha. Because like Aida is mad because Mariano broke up with her. And it's funny because like Teresa didn't even have to do anything. It's when Teresa was literally like almost dead where Mariano was like, I can't be doing this with Aida. And that's why she feels so angry. But even then it's like it doesn't justify what she said. And that's why I'm like, you wish death on a baby and now you wish death on this girl. And yeah, we even see Aida, Genoveva, and Oriana together. Literally, Teresa Hate Club just talking. My levels are getting so high. Just talking shit about Teresa. Like, they were talking about how, like, oh yeah, like, now no guy is ever gonna go and, like, look at her the same. Like, she's never gonna be able to pull a guy of her caliber anymore. Like, they're such haters. Like, do you not have time? You guys have so much money. You don't have time to do anything else? Mm-hmm. Especially Oriana. But yeah, that's that on Aida.
But we all know Teresa. And if there's something Teresa is, it's resilient. So then Teresa, after the whole Aida thing, Teresa does have a moment where she's, for the first time, she's at her lowest right now that she's been in a telenovela.
As anyone would be.
Right. She gets to the point where instead of saying entre ser y no ser yo soy, she says soy nada. Mm-hmm. Which is the first time we've ever heard her say that.
Yeah, because everyone is coming in to visit her, like, one by one. So we see, like, Arturo, and Arturo's, like, obviously, like, saying, like, don't worry, like, I'm going to be with you throughout the entire thing. Like, you're going to recover. It's going to be okay. She was like, ¿para qué sirvo? ¿Por qué me levanté si voy a ser, like, quadriplegic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Teresa's going through it. There's a moment where she's like, I can't even wipe my tears away.
Yeah, and, like, her madrina and her have a cute little moment, and that's the point where she kind of switches up, and, like, her madrina is, like, doing her little makeup, making her feel a little better about herself.
So, yeah, so that's when Teresa, like, she can't wipe her tears, but she's not going to shed anymore. And she's like, entre ser y no ser, yo soy. And yeah.
Which just goes to show, like, after all that.
That's what I'm saying. Teresa's resilient. Yes, she'll let herself cry, but she's human. We all need some cry time. And so she gave herself some space to cry and be sad and feel sorry for herself.
But it didn't last long.
No, because that's Teresa. Like, haters, I remember you said this early on. Haters motivate her.
Haters are her motivators.
And she has her whole Teresa hate club.
It really is, because during that whole monologue of, like, when she finally says, entre ser y no ser yo soy, she's saying, like, I'm never going to let anyone humiliate me, even if I am like this. Like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, like.
Yeah, Teresa's like, and she knows she may be quadriplegic. Mm-hmm. She may be quadriplegic, but she is still gonna be able to seduce any man she wants. And I mean, Arturo's on her side, Mariano's at her side, Fernando, like,
I know, everyone.
If anything, Teresa being at the hospital, like, levels up everyone's love for her.
It really gave everyone, like, a new soft spot.
Because now they realize how much they all care for her and love her. And it was very touching. Does she deserve it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was very touching.
I know when there was a moment where, like, everyone was going into, like, this little, like, altar praying place in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And, like, everyone was going in and saying their prayers for Teresa when she wasn't even awake yet. And her dad was, like, saying his little speech about Teresa. And he said, he called her La luz de mis ojos. And I cried. I was like...
Yeah. So Teresa cleans herself up, and then we get a little montage of her recovery, because sure enough, the surgery works and Teresa's gonna gain her mobility, but it's gonna be a process.
And during this recovery montage, it's like, Teresa, mi espina dorsal,
yeah, so they play Mariano's song. Aaron Diaz sings the song, by the way, if y'all didn't know. Mm-hmm. And because we were watching it at twice the speed, it was...
mi fortaleza, Teresa, mi dorsal. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, so then we get this montage. Teresa is gonna recover. And Aranza, this is the point where I'm gonna open it up for you, because let's talk about how money and Teresa's connections is the only reason she's alive right now.
Yeah, I was thinking that entire time where Teresa was in the hospital. Even her mom, Doña Refugio, was always bringing up the fact that, you know, she had already lost Rosita and she didn't want Dios to take away Teresa. And when Rosita died, remember that was the whole monologue that Teresa had, where she was like, I'm never gonna let money do this to me again, like la 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 la. And here she is in this position where it's like life or death, but yet she has the connections and she has the money. Even being broke or whatever, like she still is in a way better position than Rosita was. And right away, I mean, who would we have called if that happened to me or you? I know to keep pressure on a wound if you're bleeding out, but it's like, who are you gonna call right away? Like, oh, my doctor friend can just come here right away. Which, like, realistically, the ambulance probably would have gotten there faster. But Mariano is obviously also in love with her, so it's like in his best interest, and he's gonna fight for her the most. She wouldn't even have made it to the hospital.
So money is the reason Teresa is alive. And yeah, that's just very interesting because I made a video on YouTube talking about the differences between Teresa and Ruby. And one of my points for Teresa was that I thought that Teresa, whereas Ruby was a cautionary tale, I think Teresa is a criticism on poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Because here we have like a brilliant young woman who the only way she can get herself out of poverty, even though she's smart and has everything going for her, is by marrying rich and using her beauty to get there. It shows you Rosita died. If they had money and connections, maybe she would have lived. And that's like a hypothetical, but here we know if Teresa did not have the money, if she was still in La Vecindad, she would have died. And that's why my thesis is Teresa is a telenovela about poverty and criticizing poverty in Mexico.
I like that.
But Teresa survives and she gets better. And she's setting her sights on Fernando.
Yeah. There was a moment where she had Fernando walk into her, this is still when she was in the hospital, and she was just sitting on her wheelchair, and that's when they had first taken off her neck brace. By the way, whenever you have a brace on like that, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but whenever anyone has, like, especially a cast, if you don't clean your skin, dude, that smells horrible. But of course Teresa like puts a little perfume, whatever, and like Fernando walks in and she was like, oh, since I can't give you a hug, you're gonna have to come over here and give me a hug. And he does, and they're really close. He sniffs her, and he's like so he's really close, and then that's when Luisa walks in, and I feel like that's maybe when she starts saying like, ooh, I don't know about that.
But I saw that scene, and at first I was like, oh, Luisa's gonna know. But Teresa's so
plays
good.
It off.
She's like, Luisa, acércate.
Ven, like, oh my God, I'm finally feeling stuff.
There's no hesitation.
But before Teresa spoke, like, you could see Luisa's face, and she was kind of like, ooh.
Right.
Because even after that, she was doing little things to Fernando, like, oh, it's because I'm cold because I don't have Fernando to hug. Like, she was, like, marking her territory in front of her.
Yeah, and she also has a line where she's like, we've always had a special connection, and now, like, you've saved my life and your blood is in me, or something like that.
Damn, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my God, Teresa.
Yeah.
So Teresa may be in love with Arturo now more than she realizes, but that's not going to stop her from going after Fernando.
I would like to say before we close out that I genuinely think that Arturo and Teresa would have been fine if this tragedy and like all of this bad luck that's about to like rain on them. I really think that they would have been fine because their relationship was flourishing and only getting stronger. And I mean, even now, I feel like there was some truth to what Teresa is saying. Like, she was asked, like, oh, are you going to stay with him now that he's not going to have any money? And she was like, girl, like, I know what it's like to have nothing. And, like, even in the position that they're going to be left at, she's going to be way better off than what she was born with. Unfortunately, I know that that's not the case because she's so ambitious.
See, and I don't know. I feel like I want to disagree with you because I don't think they would have been fine because throughout these episodes too, Teresa kept being like, I know that I'm with Arturo, but it gives me great pleasure to know that Mariano still loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And Mariano was still in the back of her mind and she was still planting seeds with Fernando. So Teresa was being unfaithful in every single way. And I think sooner or later she was going to be found out. And then we also have the whole Paolo thing. We have all these lies and webs of deceit that she's sown throughout the whole telenovela. So I feel like they wouldn't have been fine. And I actually feel like this event is what's going to bring them closer than ever. Had this incident not happened, Teresa would not have realized how much she loved Arturo. But we're going to see if that love is enough and if it's going to keep her away from Fernando in next week's episode, because this is where we're going to stop. Aranza, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for listening. If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for more telenovela content. Thank you all so much for listening. Y'all are amazing. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon.